RFK Jr., well, I think he wrecked his political ambitions by backing the genocide in Israel, which is just it's mind-boggling to me. But every other thing he says is hard not to cheer for because he's telling truths that nobody else is telling, and it's a shame. It's for many reasons. It's a shame his policy on Israel. But here, let's watch this.
This is a war that should have never happened. It's a war the Russians tried repeatedly to settle on terms that were very, very beneficial to Ukraine and us. The major thing they wanted was for us to keep NATO out of the Ukraine. The big military contractors want to add new countries to NATO all the time. Why? Because then that country has to conform its military purchases to NATO weapon specifications, which means certain companies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, General Dynamics, Boeing, and Lockheed, get a trapped market. In March of 2022, we committed $113 billion. Just to give you an example, we could have built a home for almost every homeless person in this country. We then committed another $24 billion since then, 2 months ago, and now President Biden's asking for another $60 billion. But the big expenses are going to come after the war, when we have to rebuild all the things that we destroyed. Mitch McConnell was asked, can we really afford to spend $113 billion to Ukraine? He said, don't worry. It's not really going to Ukraine.
It's going to American defense manufacturers.
So he just admitted it's a money laundering scheme. And who do you think owns every one of those companies? BlackRock. So Tim Scott, during the Republican debate, said, don't worry, it's not a gift to Ukraine, it's a loan. So raise your hand if you think that loan's ever getting paid back. Yeah, of course it's not. So why do they call it a loan? Because if they call it a loan, they can impose loan conditions. And what are the loan conditions that we impose on? Number one, an extreme austerity program, so that if you're poor in Ukraine, you're going to be poor forever. Number two, most important, Ukraine has to put all of its government-owned assets up for sale to multinational corporations, including all of its agricultural land, the biggest single asset in Europe. In Ukraine, there's been 1,000 years of war fought over that land. It's the richest farmland in the world. It's the breadbasket of Europe. 500,000 kids almost, Ukrainian kids, have died to keep that land as part of Ukraine. They almost certainly didn't know about this loan condition. They've already sold 30% of it. The buyers were DuPont, Cargill, and Monsanto. Who do you think owns all of those companies? Yeah, BlackRock. And then in December, President Biden gave out the contract to rebuild Ukraine. And who do you think got that contract?
BlackRock.
BlackRock. So they're doing this right in front of us. They don't even care that we know anymore, because they know that they can get away with it. And how do they know that? Because they have a strategy. And that strategy is an old strategy, which is they keep us at war with each other. They keep us hating on each other. They keep the Republicans and Democrats fighting each other, black against white, and all these divisions that they saw.
So that's the game that's being played. And nobody else is saying it like that. Nobody else is saying it like that. Nobody. The only other guy running for president who said anything close to that was Cornel West, and he couldn't articulate what he meant by it. He just said we need to pull out of NATO, and then he crumbled when Anderson Cooper pushed back on him. He didn't know what he was talking about. That is the message they don't want to get out. That is the message. That's why they slander that guy up and down, left and right, every way possible. And if you participate in that slander, you're a dupe. You're a dupe. You can criticize RFK Jr. I do. But to slander him and dismiss him as some kind of kook, you're participating in the establishment propaganda to keep us divided and to keep that Ukraine war going. Now, again, the ultimate tragedy and head scratcher is that he has such clarity on what the establishment's doing in Ukraine and the game that they play over and over and over again. And then he falls for that game in Israel, Palestine. It's a tragedy because we need someone with that message and that kind of clarity, and that the clarity of bringing people together and calling out that game. You know, that's what we thought. That's what I thought Barack Obama was doing. Remember, he said, "There's no red state America. There's no blue state America. There's just the United States of America." And people cheered that. Bring people together. But he wasn't really. So as soon as Barack Obama got elected, he disbanded his following of young people. Did nothing, asked them to do nothing. Because he was there to do the bidding of the banks, the military-industrial complex, big pharma, big insurance, and the oil companies. That's what and Wall Street. That's what Barack Obama did. Nothing great about Barack Obama except his ability to fool people into thinking he wasn't what he was. This is the kind of stuff that gets people assassinated. That's the kind of stuff that gets people killed. If he was actually close to snatching power, I mean, if you think the slander is been over the top so far, wait to see if he actually comes close to. He won't because of his Israel-Palestine policy. So that's why it's such a tragedy. Anyway, but I'm glad he's running. I'm glad he's saying things like this because there's a lot of people who are hearing it. And this will wake them up. Hey, there's still tickets available in Stockholm, Oslo, Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, Cortland, New York, Oakmont, Pennsylvania, El Paso, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Edmonton, Alberta, Vancouver, British Columbia, Denver, Ashland, Virginia, and Athens, Georgia. See you there.